Hey everybody, Cokeman 250 here. Well, as you just seen, it's a nice fall day, mid-November, probably 55 degrees outside. Sun was shining all day. Now it's just kind of fall, kind of gray sky. And I wanted to come out in the workshop because the other day when I was cleaning out the workshop, I found the old humidor. And you know, I quit dipping back in March, and I haven't dipped since. And I want to tell you a little story. When I was about 13, I started dipping, and I dipped until I was about probably 18, 19, and I started smoking. And I smoked probably about 3 years. I had a sales route that was about 3 hours from home, 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on whether you got behind a log truck or not. And I drove up there every day for about 3.5 years. And I smoked 2 packs of Marlboro Reds a day. And I'm not saying that to brag, because that's not something I'm proud of. And then there was a store here in my hometown that was opening up, and they were going to make a new sales route, and I wanted that route. You know, it's 5 minutes from the house. I knew I could take care of it, so I started putting a bug in a few people's ears. Hey, I'd be interested in that route. Long story short, I got the route, and I wasn't driving anymore, so I started dipping again. I quit smoking, started dipping. And dipped from then. I guess I was about 21 then. I got that new sales route a day after my 21st birthday. And I stopped smoking and went back to dipping. And every once in a while, I guess even in high school I started, I'd buy a cigar once in a while. And I'd have the occasional cigar on the weekend. And then as I got older, I bought a few pipes and a humidor, and I'd buy a little pouch of tobacco from, there's a little tobacco shop here, mom and pop tobacco shop. They make their own pipe blends. My camera keeps shutting off, so I really don't know where I'm at. But anyway, I quit smoking, I quit dipping and everything in March, whenever I said that. You know, whenever I made the video, and I haven't smoked or dipped or anything, and I haven't had any urges lately. What I have had is thought about coming out here. It's a nice fall evening, sitting in the workshop and just relaxing with the pipe. I found all this as I was cleaning out the workshop the other day, and I've been thinking a lot. You know, next week's Thanksgiving, and my grandpa passed away Thanksgiving night about 2 years ago. I spent the whole last week with him there, and I was there when he passed away. It was one of the hardest things I've been through in my life so far. This is just to remember him. I've been thinking a lot about him. My grandpa built his house in 1979 by himself, him and the family. And my house, 3/4 of my house could probably fit in his living room. It's a big old house. It was 1 story, about 3,800 square foot. He had this big old fireplace, rock fireplace, that he heated that thing with in the wintertime. Let me tell you, in the winter, I remember I spent a lot of time with him. He owned his own businesses after he retired from the military after 27 years. He retired, came back home, built him a house, and started started businesses. He was a contractor. He was a carpenter. He owned a cabinet shop, made custom cabinets. He owned a restaurant in town, the only one. He uh, he owned an arcade behind the restaurant. He owned a dance hall. It's like a place where older folks go on Friday and Saturday night and just dance. There was a live band on Saturday night and sometimes on Friday night, and sometimes I would be the DJ on Friday night. It was country western, and old people just went and hung out. It's nothing to do. It was a little farm town, and I worked for him in the summers as I got older, and roofed houses and remodeled houses and stuff like that with him. He was the only locksmith around, and I remember back to the fireplace. I got a little rabbit hole there, but I remember many nights going to sleep at his house and with my head under the covers because it was cold. But he cut his wood, he split his wood by hand, and he burned that wood to heat that house, and it saved him money. And he worked hard for everything he had. And I remember some nights getting up 2 o'clock in the morning. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents because I could. My parents worked, my grandparents didn't. Or they worked for themselves, so I could still go to work with him. And my grandpa, he'd get calls 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's keys locked in the car. Somebody broke a house key off at their house. Who knows, he was a locksmith around there. But he passed away a couple years ago on Thanksgiving night, and I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, missing him. I've been missing him a lot. And one thing I remember tons about him, okay? But one thing in particular was he had a big old living room, and that fireplace, his chair was over by the fireplace. And when I was a kid, I'd be playing on the other side of the living room, and he would, he'd pull out his pipe, and he smoked cigarettes my whole life. And that's all I ever seen him smoke, hardly, except in the wintertime. When that fireplace was going, he'd grab his pipe, and it sat in a little pipe rack, kind of like this, only it had a little tobacco jar on the side over here with a wooden lid. And I actually have that. My mom got it for me last year from his house. I just haven't got it from my mom's house yet. But it would sit there by the fireplace year round. And at night, when he's sitting in his recliner, he'd reach over, pack him up a pipe, and he'd light it up with a Zippo. Never used anything but a Zippo his whole life. This tobacco's old. The pipe's not drawing very well, but you get the gist of it here. Almost instantly of him lighting that aroma would creep through that living room. And I remember I'd just sit there on the floor and I'd watch him. And I'd watch him draw off that pipe once in a while. And it's just something I remember about him, Sometimes I wonder, what kind of legacy am I leaving behind? How are people going to remember me? Ask yourself, how are people going to remember you when you're gone? What's your legacy? But that aroma, it's nothing like it. It's not about the nicotine. It's about relaxing. I don't even inhale it. But this one's just because I'm missing my grandpa. But you know what? He's in heaven, and I know I will see him again. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that story, give you a little background there. And I love this time of year. I'm the kind of guy who listens to Christmas music starting November 1st all the way through the first of the year. I'm jolly, I'm happy, I'm singing along in my truck. And I just love the holiday season, the Christmas time, the whole months of it, you know? So I just kind of sad thinking about my grandpa and wanted to share a little story with you guys. Anyway, this is Cokeman 250 from the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless everybody. And remember, prep smarter and pray harder. Alright, so I put together a couple playlists here. Click on the Save Money and it'll take you to my Live Frugal playlist, show you all the videos in that playlist. And then the big old thumbs up there, that's my most popular uploads, and you can check those out. If you like what you've seen here today and you want to see more, click that subscribe button down in the bottom middle. Thanks guys, and have a great day.